Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be filming blogging Q&A part 2. I already did part 1, so if you haven't listened to it or you haven't watched it, go do that because it's really informational and informative. Is informational even a word? I don't think it is. Informative. But yeah, so go ahead and watch that and then head over to blog questions part 2. So I kind of like answering them in videos because it's so much easier than like writing out like long like DMs and texts and messages and emails. So I kind of just like doing it this way. So hopefully this works well for you guys, and if you want me to keep doing these, just let me know. So for question number 1, someone asked me what lighting items for indoor pictures could I use if I'm on a budget. Honestly, if you're on a budget, your best friend is going to be window light. Window light is just the best kind of lighting you can have. It's soft light. So basically what that is you get in front of a window. And so like if the window is like right there, I'm going to be directly in front of it. And trust me, best lighting ever. Sometimes it looks like you have artificial lighting because it looks that good. So if you're on a budget, that's what I would do. Also, when I started doing videos, I bought myself a ring light, and that's actually what I'm using right now because there's not really good lighting. So I'll link that ring light, the one that I bought, below, so you can buy it. And it's fairly cheap. I would say it's like $100, so it's not super expensive. So if you're on a budget, I think that's a pretty good starter kit. Someone asked me, why did you start blogging? Honestly, why did I start blogging? I really started blogging because my friend told me that he had a friend that was making a lot of money from blogging, and like it was really cool because you got a lot of free things and blah blah blah. But for me, it really wasn't even about that because I was like, you know what? I like really doubt that I'm gonna make any money. Like that seems so hard. So actually at the beginning, I never even really did it for that. I honestly did it because I loved photo shoots, I loved fashion, I loved beauty, I loved, I guess, lifestyle, which I didn't know what that was then. And a lot of people came to me for advice, so I was like, you know what, why not do a website where I blog about this kind of stuff, where I share the products I use. And that's really why I started blogging, or why I started my blog. And then I have a blog post actually talking about how I started it. And it was actually really hard at the beginning. Like, I had a lot of difficulties, but it's so worth it. And like I obviously seen the results and seen how much fun blogging is, and I think this was meant for me. So that's how I started. Who is your inspiration? That one's hard because I don't really have a lot of like inspiration. Like I don't really get inspired by other people. I like to get inspired by myself and my own work. But if I was to pick someone that inspires me, well, okay, actually, I'll say this. Music videos inspire me. Sometimes I'll watch music videos and I'll listen to songs that I like and watch the videos, and I just get so inspired because I'm like, wow, like that artist looks bomb, and like these dance moves, oh yes, like I want to do the choreography and like just the way the videos are styled and just everything that goes into the video. I just freaking love that. So music videos pretty much inspire me. And then also there's a few bloggers that inspire me where I'll look at their feed and I'm like, wow, I want to get on that level. Or I'll watch their videos and I'm like, dang, they're so good. And so then obviously that inspires me to be better. But I think you should be your inspiration. I think that's like, you should see your hard work and be like, I can do better and I can do more, and like, you know, motivate yourself and inspire yourself. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Where do I see myself in 5 years? Honestly, in 5 years from now, I see myself maybe with still my blogging and YouTube videos, but with a business or with a business venture that's flourished from this. So I don't know what that looks like because I really have no idea. I mean, there's like tons of opportunities that could like happen, but I do see myself having a business 5 years from now. What budget-friendly camera do you recommend for beginners? Honestly, I do know about cameras a little bit more now that I'm like kind of around all of that. But before I literally had no idea. So I think I had a Nikon at first, and then I jumped into Canon, and then I had my Canon for about like 2 years, I would say. And a lot of photographers will actually tell you that it's not really about the body or like the camera itself. It's really more about the lens. So the camera I had was like a Canon, and it was like a T5, which I think it's kind of like iPhones. So that was like a generation like 6 or something, and there's like newer Canons now that have like cooler stuff and work better. But that camera worked really well for me because it had a 50mm lens, and that lens was really good to catch details and stuff like that. And so I actually sold that camera. I sold that camera with the stock lens. I sold that camera with the stock lens and the 50mm lens, and it was about, I sold it for like $400. So if you're on a budget, I mean, I would say kind of research. The camera I have now is the Sony a600, or is it a6000? I don't know. But I have a 30mm lens on it, and it works really, really well. So it's really more about the lens. But I would say if you really do want to be serious about blogging and you want to start off with a good camera, I would just say invest. If you have an iPhone, just use that meanwhile while you're saving up, and then buy yourself a really good camera. What are your ultimate blogging goals? My ultimate blogging goals. I'm glad someone asked this because sometimes I'm like, what are my ultimate blogging goals? My ultimate blogging goals, I would say, is travel with brands, or, you know, like, but travel outside of the country with brands. I think once I've done that, I'll be like, okay, I'm good. Like, I've made it. So I guess that would be my ultimate blogging goals. There's a few brands that I'm like, oh my god, I would love to like work with them. So obviously those are some blogging goals that I have as well. What do you use to edit your pictures? Everyone always asks me this. They're like, what filter do you use? It's not really, I guess it is a filter. I actually use Lightroom, which you have to purchase every month, or I guess you could buy it for a year. But it's with Adobe, so I get Lightroom, put the picture, I have a preset that I put on every picture, which I guess is like a filter, and then I kind of edit it to make it look however I want. And then basically that's all I use, and then sometimes I'll use Facetune to like sharpen stuff or smooth out stuff, but other than that, that's really all I do. I used to spend hours and hours editing pictures when I used to do like the gray and black theme, or like the gray theme. It was like so hard. But so yeah, so now I just use Lightroom and Facetune. Someone asked me, what do you tell yourself when most of your family and friends are in relationships and you're single? Which is a really good question, but because this is about blogging, I'm not going to answer that. I'll probably answer that in a different video. But that is such a good question. How do you organize your time to make sure you get all the content done? And basically, I'll look at my calendar, and if there's like national days or if there's like special holidays, I'll make sure to like circle those and then try to plan photo shoots for that kind of stuff in advance. Or just like if there's stuff happening, I'll just make sure to do the photo shoots like a week in advance. So I'll kind of schedule that out, and I'll schedule like videos and stuff like that. I mean, sometimes you just have to give yourself deadlines so you know when you need to like do that content. So, you know, like today, like, because I have to put up videos on Friday, obviously I have to film sometime before Friday. So I think that's how you keep yourself organized when creating content. Just make sure you have your deadlines, and then you actually finish the content before that deadline. Someone asked, what can you expense in your taxes? Honestly, last year was the very first year I did my taxes, so I don't really know much about taxes. But my friend was telling me you can expense at like the props that you use for photo shoots, like gas, you know, to go to photo shoots and all of that. But I know you also have to like claim the money that because a lot of bloggers get paid through PayPal, so I guess you have to like claim that money. I don't know that a lot of people do. I don't really know. This is the first year I've done blogging full time, so I have to look into it. But I know she said you can expense that kind of stuff. And then someone asked, do you give yourself deadlines? And I do. I really try to, because then I will never get things done. But for the most part, if it's like blog posts or stuff like that, I kind of just like, you know, I get to it whenever I get to it, I guess. But most of the time, brands give me deadlines, so I think that's helpful because like that makes me do the stuff when it needs to get done. And then if it's just up to me, I really like procrastinate really bad. So I do try to give myself deadlines, but for the most part, I don't, which that probably needs to be a resolution. How do you get brand partnerships? That's a good question. You have to ask yourself what kind of brand partnerships you want. And so, like, let's say if you're a fitness blogger and you want like workout clothes and you want like fitness stuff, then, you know, post pictures about fitness, post pictures about workout clothes and, you know, how you style it. And then that will make brands reach out to you and like send you free things because you're giving them an example of what it's going to look like to work with you. So I think that's how you get brand partnerships. Just kind of blog about the kind of partnerships that you want to get, I guess. Did that even make sense? I don't know. Like for me, when I wanted to do a lot of beauty products, like or beauty procedures, I reached out to spas and did procedures for them, and then or like with them, not for them. Well, for them and with them. And I was like, hey, you know, I want to expand this, so I would love to, you know, do a video and a blog post for you. And then that's kind of how I grew that because other spas saw what I was doing with them. So I think that's how you get brand partnerships in the end. Okay, wow, this video is like kind of long. How do you get all the clothes in your pictures? Are they yours or do you return after you photograph? Most of the clothes that I have, companies send them to me and like they're just mine to keep. Usually they'll like email me and then I'll send them links of all the stuff I like, and then they'll send me like a small package of some of the stuff that I picked out. Obviously not all because it would be like a lot of clothes. But yeah, I get to keep them. I shoot them. They use the pictures. So it's a great partnership. And then most of the time I'll like end up selling them because once I already wore them once and once I already like posted a picture, I can't really do much with the clothes because it's like I've already worn it and people have already seen it. Well, okay, someone asked me well actually I don't even think this is a blogging question. So, okay, good question. So someone said, let's say you get invited to a huge event as an influencer, you know, like New York Fashion Week, a trip to LA, whatever, but you have a lot of bills coming up. Would you take the opportunities or wait until like a richer month, I guess? Or do you just work more than usual to pay for it? Or do you usually budget it to where what you spend is always less than what you make? Honestly, if you're worried about like money, you're never going to be able to do things like ever. So I say try to save and then try to like plan for trips in advance. And so for me, I was trying to plan a New York trip for Fashion Week. And it just so happens that the day I was going to buy the ticket, I ended up leaving my corporate job. So it's like I didn't have like all this money. But I was like, you know what? I don't care. Like, whatever. I'll figure it out. I'm sure like I'll have money then to pay for it. So whatever. With my last paycheck, I bought my ticket to New York. I remember my friend got the Airbnb and I kind of paid her back within like a month. And then after you got your plane ticket and the hotel or where you were gonna stay, all you have to really pay for is like the food and obviously like what you're gonna spend there. So I would say yes, save, but don't be like so scared about like trips and stuff like that, because if you plan for them in advance and you pay for them in advance, it really is so easy to travel. You know, just pay for your ticket first. Get your Airbnb, pay for that, and then it'll be so easy, like when the day comes, for you to save and have money to actually spend on your trip. So, I mean, that's my advice, but obviously I would say, like, don't get into debt. I mean, I don't have any debt. I've never used a credit card in my life. But yeah, I mean, if that trip is just not in your means, then I would say just don't go. I mean, you work hard, so you end up getting, you know, partnerships, and you end up collaborating with brands that pay you a lot, and then you're able to take those trips. Because that's kind of what happened with me. I mean, it was like super crazy, but as soon as my New York trip came around, and also, I mean, I knew God would like supply, because like he knew that I really wanted to go to New York really bad, so I was like, you know what, God has me. So actually, like, before I even went to New York, I got like some random like $400, and then I had like a brand partnership that was gonna pay me, and that was like $300. So I would say just like worry about money, but don't make that like an excuse to not go and travel and do things, because if it is, like, trust me, you're never gonna do stuff. Okay, so someone asked me, how do you start a media kit, and do I have any tips? So basically what a media kit is, it's a kit that you send out to brands, or if brands ask for it, you send it to them. And it's basically kind of explaining who you are, what your blog is about. It's super helpful for brands to know this because it gives them a better picture of the audience that you have, and it kind of helps them because, you know, if I'm trying to target a certain kind of audience and you don't have that audience, we're probably not going to be a good match. So a media kit just kind of explains, you know, your following, how many followers you have, how, like, your impressions, all of that. Basically, your media kit is your resume as a blogger. So you really want to add as much information as you can on there. And then it's also very helpful when you're trying to propose something to a brand. So for me, sometimes I have to I used to just email and like send them pictures of what that partnership would look like, send them videos. I have to tell them like my following and blah, blah, blah. But with a media kit, I can just send them that, and then they can see like all I've done, the brands I've worked with. And so it's just more a more concise, more professional type of way to reach out to brands and to send brands, you know, your analytics basically. Those were all the questions that you guys asked me, which are really good questions. And then I got some other questions that weren't about blogging, so I'll probably just answer those in a different video. But yeah, I hope that was really helpful for you guys. So if you haven't watched my blogging Q&A part 1, make sure to do that. And then this is blogging Q&A part 2. Maybe in the future there will be a part 3, a part 4, a part 5, I don't know. But yeah, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next Friday.
You got a fetish for my love.